Hey everybody, welcome to the Momsplanation podcast.
Hello.
On today's episode, we are chatting with Heather, having a little chat.
Yeah, I've known Heather for over 10 years.
I've not known her that long.
But you met her through me.
I did, yeah. I've done her makeup a few times.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so unfortunately for Heather, her first child...
experience was...
Yeah, her experience having her first child wasn't that great. However, she is the most lovely person you'll ever meet. Anyone would say that, definitely.
Yep.
And she has a really positive message about it all, even though it was really
Scary
and crappy. Yeah. So we hope you like this. It's a great message that she has about, being a mom and going through hard shit and, feeling like giving up and just doing everything you can to get through it all.
Yeah.
So, if you're a first-time mom or an OG mom, it's a good listen, that's for sure. So enjoy.
Bye,
Thanks for listening.
You're listening to the Momsplanation. Real life, real moms, real talk.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Momsplanation podcast.
Hi.
Today we have Heather.
What up?
Hi, Heather.
In the hizzle.
In the living room.
In the living room.
We're not in the basement today.
No.
It's so funny because I was listening to episodes of the podcast and I was like, oh, so we've done the basement, the kitchen, and now the living room.
What's
So-
next? Bedroom.
Bedroom. We're going to
Hey,
get
at
real inappropriate.
At least we're not in a bathtub.
That's true.
That's true.
We could take it there, though.
I
That
hear
could be interesting.
the acoustics are quite good in the bathroom.
Yeah, could get interesting.
Yeah.
Anyways, welcome. Thanks
you.
for joining us
Thank
today.
you for having me.
I feel very excited actually because I was thinking this morning I'm going to record with two new moms today.
Yeah.
I'm the OG. You guys are the newbies.
Yep.
And I love that. I think that's really exciting because I don't know a lot of new moms. Like in my circle, I have a lot of old moms. Not that
Older children.
Being an old mom is a problem, but
No.
I have a lot of old moms in my circle, so it's nice to hang out with some new moms. So how's motherhood going for you?
It's been a trip. It's definitely nothing like I thought it would be. Like I was the one that was like, I'm gonna be at the gym every day. Like I had so many ideas of how my kid was gonna be so easy. I would never have to barricade myself at home or anything like that. And
Here we are.
And that's not the case,
that's
right?
not the case at all.
Yeah. So isn't it interesting how when I was having my first, I was very young, so I didn't have any idea of what it was going to be like. So when it actually happened to me, and I say happened to me because it happened to me, I was shocked, right? But I know, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're in your 30s and you have your first child, you have conceptions in your mind of how this is going to look.
Yeah.
It's I look outwardly and I see women and having their children and it's like, oh, this is going to be great.
Yes.
And people tell you this is how it should be or this is how it should go. This is what it should look like. So you had your daughter a year ago.
Yes, she's a January 1st baby. Mike was...
Did you make it into the newspaper?
I did not.
Oh,
because she
damn.
was the third.
Damn it.
Oh, no.
She was...
That's so close. I would have been so cheesed about that.
I was really, really unimpressed.
What time was she born?
10:13 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah,
but it
you
was-
had to have an overnighter to make it into the newspaper, right?
Yeah, I had 36 hours of labor and thought I was going to die, and we finally went to the hospital. I had midwives, so we finally went to the hospital.
So were you
at 4
planning a
a.m.
home birth?
No.
Oh,
So I just wanted midwives because I wanted the aftercare, because
Yes.
I think their aftercare is just so much better
Okay.
than the way that, I appreciate doctors and everything that they do, but I liked the fact that I could have my daughter and then they would come in and see her instead of me having to lug her in the dead of winter to the hospital,
Right.
to the doctor's office for the first 6 weeks every week.
Right.
So it was kind of like I want to do this, and my sister had such a good experience with them because she did midwives for both of her girls.
Okay.
That I was just like, this is what I want.
Okay.
I think that it's going to be more beneficial for me.
So did you have an OB deliver Sienna then?
No, my midwife.
Okay.
The midwives that I went with were out of the. They have their offices right behind the Oakville Hospital, and they have an agreement with the Oakville Hospital that they can deliver out of there.
Okay. So 36 hours of labor because
She just she was like, okay, I want to come, but I'm not ready.
Okay.
So I did most of the pain and terribleness at home.
Okay.
I actually broke the toilet paper roll holder off of
Nice.
off of the wall in our bathroom, and I complained to Mike about it afterwards because I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, it's broken. And I'm like, fix it, tighten it. And he's like, no, you actually pulled that off the wall when you were having really, really bad contractions. I was like, oh, good.
Oh, no.
Great. So it was terrible.
Yeah.
And then, but I had the whole thing when you have to do your birth plan and everything. I was like, I don't care. Give me all of the drugs.
Okay.
I'm a wimp.
So initially you didn't want drugs?
No, I did.
Oh, you did.
You agreed
were
to them
signing
from day
up.
one.
I
Yeah,
agreed
sign
to
up.
them from day one. I was
Okay.
like, yes, because my mom had a really, really long labor with my sister. Like, she was in labor with my sister for like 47 hours before they decided to do an
God.
emergency C-section.
That's torturous.
Yeah.
Like, fuck. It's
So-
bad enough
yeah.
to go through it for 10 hours,
Right.
let alone...
Well,
Let's just
I
do a
can't
few
even say.
days.
I can't
I know.
say. Sorry.
I know. You're a lucky person.
I'm very lucky.
In, like, you know,
Yeah.
some cases.
Yeah.
Like, in some ways. Other ways, you know,
Yeah.
I'm terrified for you. But we'll get into that in a
Yeah.
minute. So, anyway, so you're dying at home, going through this labor,
Yeah.
decide to go to the hospital.
Yeah, it was final. It was like it was the last time that we called midwives because you called to check in,
Mm-hmm.
and so Mike called because I was at the point where I was like, I can't speak, I
Yeah,
can't.
and then that's when you know.
I was like, I'm done. Like, let's go. We got to the hospital. Then, of course, they have to do the blood work to make sure that you can actually have the epidural,
Right.
which is terrible.
Yeah.
So it was.
Did they check you when you get there? Like, to see how many centimeters you
Yeah.
are?
So I was already at 7 centimeters, and they're like, "Oh wow!" Like,
Okay.
You
How
did a
long have
lot.
you been in labor?
I was at like the 30-hour mark at that point.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow. God,
Uh,
that seems inhumane.
Yeah, it was awful. But my mom's labor was so long that I was just like, well, maybe this is just the way that it's going to be for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, and with the midwives, they were like, oh, no, you're not ready yet. You're not ready yet. Like, just stay at home. It's going to be where you're more comfortable. She's like, if we go to the hospital, she's like, the doctors might push us to get you in and then cut you open.
And did you feel like you felt like you were okay to stay home?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
Like
That's
I
good.
was.
Agreed.
It was enough that I could, like, I was like, yes, it's uncomfortable, but I could still, for the most part, I was
Yeah.
laying on the couch fine. Like, Mike
Okay.
was keeping
So
me
it's
busy.
true.
Like,
You were more
watching
comfortable
TV.
at home than
Yeah.
you were going to the hospital.
So, but then once it was like, I can't deal with this. They were like, okay, like, I'm
Let's
not even
go.
going to come to your house. Like, let's just
Yeah.
go. I'm not going to come check you.
Yeah.
So we got there. They checked me right away. Mike went to do the paperwork. I got the blood work done pretty much automatically.
Mm-hmm.
And then they came with like the test of the epidural because they
Yeah.
have to do the little. And she gave the anesthesiologist gave it to me, and then I automatically was just like, oh,
Best day
best
ever.
day.
See, I have no experience with
No.
this, so I don't know. But women who have had it are like, "Oh my god, it's so great."
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know what that feels like, but that's amazing.
I try to
I'm happy
imagine
for
if you can remember the pain,
Yeah.
and then instantly, it's got to be just instant,
It's instantaneous.
right? So it's kind of
Well-
like after you've done pushing and it's all over, it must
Yeah.
be that feeling.
Maybe, but have you ever heard of these women that like are in these labors and the pain is so horrible and they sign up for the epidural and they go through the pain of the epidural because I've heard that getting
That's
it
right.
is
It's
terrible
hard. Yeah.
and then it
feels
doesn't
like-
take.
Yes.
Have you heard of
I've
this?
heard. Yeah.
This is the reason why I never got
Can
one.
you imagine?
Because I'm like, I am not signing a form that says, if I'm paralyzed, that's not your fault,
Yeah.
first. Second, I'm not going through all of that
Find
for
it-
it to not work.
Yeah.
And then have to just do it anyways.
Yeah.
So that was my mentality around like not
But it worked
getting
for you.
It
which
worked
is
for me.
amazing.
Well, yeah, so
And
yeah, that's great.
The best was watching the monitor afterwards because, like, you can see on the monitor when you're
Mm-hmm.
having a contraction. And I remember it was like, so I didn't get the epidural until it was almost 6 a.m. by the time I got the full
Yeah.
dose.
Yeah.
And then I looked at Mike and I was like, I'm having a contraction right now?
And you had no
I
idea.
had no idea. And then I was like, babe, can you go to Starbucks? I'm kind of tired.
Yeah.
I need a coffee.
Amazing.
No kidding.
And he was just like, no, I'm not leaving you.
Yeah.
But then they had to give me a dose of Oxy to put me back because
like Pitocin?
the one to help
Oxytocin?
not oxytocin, the one that was to help increase like
Contraction?
my contractions because my contractions slowed again.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what
I
I've
see.
heard
Yeah.
about the epidural.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you have the epidural, and then I'm like, well,
Your active labor goes.
yeah,
Yeah.
Plummeted right
Because
down.
you're so relaxed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was like, well, this isn't good, but okay.
You gotta do what you
Okay.
gotta do. Yeah.
So they gave me that, and then all of a sudden everything kind of got back going again, and then all of a sudden Wendy looked at me and she was like, "Okay, let's go." And it was like 35 minutes of pushing, and then she was
Okay, so
out.
when you were pushing,
35 minutes?
Yeah. Because she kept
Oh
getting
my god.
because she kept getting stuck
Stuck.
around.
Yeah.
So they had to I had to do what they called the rocking. So I was
Yeah.
like doing like half contraction or like half pushing when the contractions were coming because I had to
rock.
slowly rock her around my pelvis.
Oh my god, I can't even imagine this. This is crazy.
for 35 minutes.
You must have been like pooped.
Oh, I was exhausted.
I think I did, my maximum amount of pushing was like 7 minutes, I think. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I've had enough of this.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to push this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm tired.
I'm over it.
Like, I'm over it. I've heard of people like 2 hours, and I was like, how are you living?
But then when you were pushing, could you feel
Oh yeah, I could feel
like
pressure,
the pressure? Okay.
but I couldn't feel the pain.
Okay.
Like, so I always describe it as like a burning sensation. Like, if you put your fingers in your mouth and pull your
Yeah.
lips apart, that's like what it feels like a little bit when the head is crowning you.
Yeah.
Did you feel that at all, or no?
I felt it a bit, but it was more like a numb pain than the like, oh god.
Right.
Okay, so you
Okay.
didn't really.
So like
okay.
you could still feel it. It's just that you don't have the like your synapses aren't firing
Yeah,
that badly
exactly.
that you're like,
Yeah.
Right.
crap,
Okay.
I can't handle this.
Right. Okay. So she's out after 35 minutes, and then what happens?
So she started crying immediately. We're like, great, everything's great. So we're like, she's fine. They went and took her away to do the little check. Brought her to me. She like latched automatically and was like trying to pretty much eat my boob off. And I was
Amazing.
like,
That's good.
I was
Yeah.
like, great, like you're hungry. Yeah, you've been working a long time, kid.
Yeah.
And then we get like everything's done. We're thinking like everything's fine, and then we took her back to the like nursing or the pregnancy ward where I got to stay for the night or for the day and night.
Yeah.
And it was about 4 hours after she was born. Like I had passed out with her, and Mike had taken her off of me and put her in her little bassinet thing so that I obviously wouldn't drop her.
Yeah.
And then he came up to me because they were like, okay, you should feed her again. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And I tried to put her back on me, and she was just like really, really out of it, seemed extremely lethargic, and seemed like just,
Like limp?
like, yeah, limp, and just was having so much trouble breathing. And so Mike was like, I'm calling the nurse. And I was like, no, it's fine. She's just tired. Like, it's fine. And he's like, no. He's like, something's not right. So he called the nurse in. The nurse came and hooked her up to a machine that checked, like, her oxygen levels and everything like that. And they were like, oh, this machine has to be wrong because her oxygen levels were, like, 40 to 60%, if that. And you're supposed to be in, like, the 80 to 90 range for you to be healthy.
Yeah.
So like anytime you go below, I think it was anytime you went below 85, there's risk of brain damage and all sorts of other things like that. So I have no idea how long she was sitting like with having this problems with oxygen.
Okay.
And so they grabbed another machine, checked her again. They're like, no, we're calling the pediatrician. So the on-call pediatrician was Dr. Sam. He actually took care of my sister's older one.
Okay.
Because my sister had a 6.5-week preemie.
Right. Okay.
So she was in NICU with her. So Dr. Sam came and I was like, I recognize this guy.
Right. Yeah.
And he checked everything. He's like, nope. And they took her away. And I was like, what's going on? Like, my baby's just gone.
Yeah. Like they don't have time to explain to
Yeah.
you. It's an emergency
They
situation.
literally just took her from me. And Mike
Yeah.
was just like, The nurse came back in like a couple minutes later and I was just like, I don't understand. Like, what? Like
what is
what
happening?
is happening?
Yeah.
And they're like, okay, so you've been moved to NICU. And I was like, I'm sorry.
Okay.
And it's like, it was like another hour of waiting. Like, they hooked her up to a CPAP and oxygen right away. So just to make sure she was good.
Yeah.
Did a chest x-ray on her. And then I stormed down once. Did you poop? Did you poop?
Side note,
Yeah.
my baby is present and shitting his pants currently. So, dramatic story with a side of shit. Okay.
But
So she's on the breathing machine. She's like
hooked up to like
up.
18 different things coming through, which was terrible. Like she looked like she was like a monster because they just had her on so many different apparatuses. And then we're sitting there waiting for everything, and they say, like, they have Dr. Sam, who they paged him to come back in because now they've gotten the x-ray results. And we're standing in Sienna's room, but we can hear him because he's sitting at the page desk.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh my God."
Oh,
He's like, I've never seen something like this. And I'm like, you've been a pediatrician for a really long time.
And you've never seen something like this. Yeah.
So when you look at a chest x-ray, apparently the lungs are supposed to be black. Sienna's full lungs, both of them, were like spray painted white.
What?
Because her lungs were completely filled with meconium, which is poop.
Yeah.
Right.
So
she fully aspirated it?
She fully aspirated it.
Both lungs.
Both lungs.
Wow.
They think that she was, like, the midwives afterwards were like, maybe you were dated wrong, because when, like, after she was born, the midwife was like, your placenta, like, my placenta was stained with meconium. So, like, that wasn't just, like, a day. Like, it had been sitting longer.
Wow.
So they have no idea how long she had been in her own poop and how long it had been inside me, but she was not okay.
So she had released the meconium in utero before your water had broke.
Yeah, they had to break my water.
And she was aspirating it.
Yeah.
Wow.
You don't know how long.
Don't know how long, because they were like, your placenta was stained. Like, my placenta was not a normal color. It was like brownie green.
The entire placenta.
So they're telling you they misdated you?
The midwife was like, we think that, like, you might have been misdated, like, when we took her to, like, obviously when I was doing my ultrasounds. And everything.
So did this enrage you?
I was upset, but I know it's not my midwife's fault, and I know it's not the technician's fault, really. Like,
okay, so just as a side note, Heather is the nicest person on the planet.
Yeah.
So these people who worked with her are extremely fortunate, because if it was me, I would not have taken that very well.
Well, they were, like, the midwives were just trying to really give me, like, any, like, possibility. They're like, well...
explanation.
Yeah, because they were like, but, like, meconium aspiration syndrome is a normal thing. It does happen to a lot of children.
Yeah. Yes, I've heard of it before, for sure, but not to this level.
The severity was one of the worst cases that Dr. Sam has seen in all of his years as a pediatrician, which is kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
So I have to ask, how emotionally, like, how are you doing at this point?
At this point, I'm a lot better. It took a really
no, but like at this point in the story,
back
then,
I was a disaster. Like, I was crying. Mike was just trying to comfort me, but if it wasn't for the nurse, because Dr. Sam said, like, I've never seen this, and then the nurse kind of was like, Dr. Sam, like, those are the parents right there, and he was just like, ugh. So he came over and he's like, hi folks, so I'm gonna just show you a picture. He puts the picture up, and I was like, okay. He's like, so these are her lungs. He's like, these are not supposed to look like this. He's like, so it seems like she has meconium aspiration syndrome, and it's quite severe. He's like, we're going to do a bunch of other tests to make sure that she doesn't have any, like, bacterial infections or this, and this, because with meconium and the severity of hers, there's a chance that she could just have, like, anything. And I was like, oh, good. This is great. It's like, okay, so poke and prod my babe. Whatever you need to do. I just want her to be healthy. So she ended up having to have the CPAP and oxygen. She was on the CPAP for 7 days. So that's to, like, help push the air in to breathe.
So I've always wanted to ask this, because I've never had this experience myself. And I know that right after you give birth to a baby, for me anyways, there's a lot of feelings. So like, you feel overjoyed, you feel exhausted, your hormones are everywhere. So, you know, for me, like, looking at a, you know, puppy golden retriever would make me cry. Like that's just where I'm at. So I've always thought of women who have had to, you know, leave the hospital without their child. Yeah. And I have goosebumps right now just saying it. So I want to know, like, how was that for you, leaving the hospital and leaving her there?
Well, so, like, the first day I got to stay overnight because I had the room.
Right, yeah.
And then they actually have courtesy rooms available. So the way that the courtesy rooms work for the NICU is that it's dependent on your severity level. Mm-hmm. So it's a priority, and it changes every day. So I got one of those rooms for 2 nights.
Okay.
And it was literally like sleeping in a closet that was just black.
And Sienna wasn't even with you.
Sienna wasn't with me because she was in NICU and she had to be
but
in
you
NICU.
knew you were in the same building.
Yeah.
So.
And like I tried to sleep in the NICU rooms, and like the NICU is great at Oakville, but there's privacy but not privacy because it's literally like you're in like a little area and the only way to give yourself privacy is to close the curtain.
Oh, I see.
So it's not like you're actually separate where you have the like privacy to shut a door and get rid of all the other little babies that are in there crying, which is obviously like it definitely affected me more because I'm hearing all these other babies. And like some of their parents weren't there.
So, and are you attempting to maintain milk supply? Like, what are you doing? Pumping? Are you feeding her?
So she had to do tube feeding because of having the CPAP and the oxygen. So she got formula the first day, and then the next morning, Mike and I went to the lactation consultants like that are right there, and I bought the pump there. I was like, I really don't care that it's an extra like $50 here versus on Amazon.
Right.
Like, I don't care. Let's just do it. Let's get going. And I turned into a dairy farm, so I'm very thankful for that. I've donated milk many, many times.
Yeah, that's amazing.
I've helped many other babies that are in NICU with what I've done. And I still have like a chest freezer in my basement full.
Amazing.
Like, Sienna's getting breast milk until she's 2. Easily.
Wow. That's incredible.
So
they were just giving the breast milk through the
tube. So they would
Okay.
take it in like a little syringe and shove the syringe into the tube, and then the tube would go into her so that she was still getting the nutrients that she needed.
So how long before you weren't allowed to stay in the hospital anymore?
So it was 2 days after she was born, I was told that I didn't get the room anymore because there was somebody else, which was like who needed it more.
Okay.
And I totally understood because they also knew that we lived around the corner.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. Still sucked. But like, I would get up every morning at 6 a.m. and be at the hospital for 6:30.
Did you sleep?
Not really, because I was pumping every 2 hours.
Right.
So it was up at 6 a.m., go to the hospital with my pump and everything that I needed for the day, and like took snacks, took everything.
Yeah.
I would try to feed her like on the breast once the CPAP was off, because the CPAP was the part that was super invasive because it's
right
legit
over her
mass
face,
over her entire mouth. So once it was just the oxygen, it was just like little nose prongs, and that's a lot easier to feed with.
Right.
So we tried, like, I would do like a breastfeed, and then I would pump the other boob and that kind of stuff, and we worked on that.
And how was your family? Because I feel like, you know, if this happened to me, I think that people would be panicking. So how was your family about all of this?
So because my sister went through it with Lila, like they were in NICU.
You have experience with NICU.
Yeah, it was a different, like hers was because my sister gave birth to her like 6.5 weeks early. So I find that their situation was more terrifying than mine. Like mine, they're like, okay, her body just needs to work this out, but she needs the oxygen so that she's not affected later on in life because of it.
Right.
We don't want to see brain damage. We don't want any of this. So it was just more so like, I was like, okay, you're taking care of her because what you're doing is going to better her for her future. So it was like, you're going to take better care of her now than I can. So I'm fine with her being here. And my family was extremely supportive in that sense as well. But they also understood, like, they weren't allowed to come visit because her lungs are so sensitive.
Yeah.
She, like, if you had a cold,
she'd be done.
You have to stay away. So it was, they said that it would take about a year for her lungs to heal. There's still times where I hear her like, and I'm like, oh my gosh, you're hyperventilating. Like, calm yourself down. Like, you need to make sure that you're good. Because I don't want you to have something happen and like you tear your lung or whatever and you're done.
Right.
So, and like they said that with meconium there is the chance like in their first year where they're like, if they haven't been taken care of, their lungs could possibly collapse.
So
and
because
stuff
of this,
like
are
that.
her lungs like thinner, or like what's
It
the?
was just they're weaker
They're
because
weaker,
they've had to try to get rid of all
Permanently?
of this. No, not permanently. They said it would take about the first year of her life to heal properly, and then she'll be like a normal
and
kid.
her body would naturally just get rid of the meconium
Yeah,
in her
so her
lungs, so
body
it was
would
just
just-
working it out
Yeah.
with the fresh oxygen going in.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they needed to pump the oxygen in to help get it out.
Wow.
But like there were so many times where they were like, okay, she's doing really, really well with the oxygen. Like we've lowered the level, like the amount that she's getting, and
Right.
she's staying in the good range. And then they're like, we're gonna try taking her off, and they take her off, and then automatically she
No.
would start ding, ding, and the machine's going off like crazy, and they're like,
Back on.
there was like 4 or 5 times where they're like, we think you can take her home today or tomorrow.
No.
There's no. Like, she did 18 days, which is not, like, honestly, when I look back to some of my other friends that I know that have done it,
Yeah.
like, I've had friends that were in NICU for, like, 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm like, 18 days? I'm good.
Yeah, but still,
It's been like the longest
so-
18 days of your life.
Oh, yeah. It's,
You know, I think now in hindsight, you're able to like see that it wasn't so the
Yes.
worst case scenario, obviously.
yeah.
But in the moment, like, how are you like managing
So-
your days through this? Are
Yeah.
you just in a fog?
I was...
Is it
yeah.
like just you're going through the motions, or like what is
Taking-
happening?
Pumping.
I was definitely going through the motions of just like, okay, I need to be here for her. And like Mike stayed for like a day or two, and I was like, what are you doing? I'm like, go back to work. I'm like, go keep yourself busy, because all I'm doing is sitting here staring at her while she sleeps.
Yeah.
Like, just go.
Is
Go
it
work.
is it stressful on your relationship at this time with the two of you, or
It wasn't. It was. We were good at supporting each other. Yes, it was stressful because obviously we want our baby to be healthy.
yeah?
But Mike and I are both very science minded in the sense that we both, like, I went to school and like I love science. Like, I love kin, I love biology, anything like that. So I'm looking at it from the sense like I was going to go through nursing and then decided against it.
Right.
And I'm like, okay, well, I know that they're taking care of her for such and such a reason. And
Yeah.
Mike's a software developer, so obviously he's got
So you
his
guys are
science
just
mind.
like you're able to think through it
Yes.
logically and
Yes.
not emotionally,
Yeah.
and which is something I'm not capable
No.
of. So
Yeah. Yeah.
see, I feel like it's such a big like it makes it so evident that it happened to you for a reason, because you could handle it.
Yeah.
Because if something like that happened to me, I don't think that I could handle it
Yeah.
very well.
No, it was hard and it was emotional because I'm like, I want my family to meet my baby.
Of course.
Of course,
I
yeah.
wanted my sister to meet her niece. She didn't have any, like, her husband's brothers don't have any kids.
So this would have been her
So
first.
this is her
Yeah.
first, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm keeping you from meeting your new baby. And like, I kept my
Yeah.
parents, like Mike's parents couldn't come either, and like Mike's parents are a whole other thing because
So
of.
did you feel guilty about that?
I did, but at the
Okay.
same time, I was like, you know what, like, you'll get to meet her when the time's right.
Right. Yeah.
So my sister was actually the first to meet her. Like, she met her before my parents did, before Mike's parents
Aw.
did, because she came to NICU, brought boxes of clothes,
Yeah.
because she has 2 daughters, so she brought me all of their clothes to be like, here, don't go purchase stuff. You can borrow all of this
Yeah.
and just give it back to me when you're done.
Nice. Yeah.
So that's like, she came, and it was honestly the sweetest thing. I think the best picture I have of the first time that my sister met Sienna is like they're giving each other the finger.
Really?
Nice.
That's so funny. That's adorable.
Wow.
So is it possible that this will happen again if you have another pregnancy, or do you know?
The thing is, like, meconium is meconium's such a common thing that
Yeah.
like it can happen. Like, literally, like, the baby could poo like on its way out and swallow it.
Happens all the time.
Yeah, no, I know
It's
that.
a super,
Yeah.
super common thing. It's just the severity of it was the problem.
Yeah, so in my mind, like, I would go to the place of like,
How did this
how
happen?
did this happen?
Yeah.
So they're telling you there possibly were mistakes made and dating X, Y, and Z. But like, for me, it's like, okay, if I'm gonna have another child, obviously I don't want to go through this experience again. Will it happen? Is there something I can do to prevent it? You know, like, have you thought of that?
The
like,
only things that you can really do to prevent it is if you decide to do, like, an induction and give birth early.
Right.
But then there's so many other risks with that. Like,
right.
Sienna was full term. She was a couple days overdue from what they...
said.
They said, because their original date for her was December 29th.
Right.
Which isn't that big of a difference from January 1st.
Right.
Yeah.
Then they're like, I'm like, she was a decent sized baby. She was 7'11", so
Yeah.
And the experience hasn't dissuaded you from having more children?
I think it was, we had a really, really hard year with her because we had the whole experience of being in NICU for so long, and then when we brought her home, she was so colicky and just miserable, and she screamed and she cried, and she would just throw up constantly. And it wasn't until my sister finally got us in contact, like my sister took both of her daughters to an osteopath.
Okay.
Because my sister was like trying anything and everything she could to make her older one better, because her daughter screamed and cried all the time too.
Yeah.
So my sister messaged her osteopath and was like, I need your help. My niece is an asshole.
Yeah.
And that was, like, as sad as it is, that was the way that we had to describe it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until we went to the osteopath, she was like, do you know that she has a tongue tie?
Right.
And I was
Of
like,
course.
pardon?
Yeah.
And I was like, I was like, what's a tongue tie? She's like, oh, like, her tongue can't lift. So that's why whenever you're trying to breastfeed her, she's just barfing all over you. Like, I ate my own breast milk quite a few times because she would puke in my mouth after she's drank. Because she just couldn't latch properly. So every single time that she was on my boob, she was taking in air.
Right.
Oh, so then the gas came, and then she'd be crying.
Yeah.
So it was a vicious circle.
Yeah,
Right,
vicious
okay.
circle. So took her to the osteopath. The osteopath actually worked on her neck because apparently during birth, her top two vertebrae locked, so she couldn't turn her head.
Oh.
And I didn't really realize that because when I would feed her, I would just have her like straight on, so it would be easy for her.
Right.
But then I was like, I thought about it, and I was like, oh yeah, she always puts her head to the one side. Like, she never ever put her head to the left. It was always to the right, and it was because she couldn't
My
turn.
God.
Okay.
Wow.
So the osteopath worked on her, and then was like, gave me the card for Dr. Siegel, who's out of Milton actually.
Okay.
She has Little Bird Pediatric Dentistry.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I did, like, there was a quiz you could do, and then she literally saw me, like, the next day.
Okay.
She was like, come in, 8 a.m., be here, bring the babe. So we took her in, and they assessed her, and they're like, yeah, she has a posterior tongue tie.
Great.
Which meant that, like, the whole back of her tongue was stuck to the base of her mouth, and she couldn't lift it. And then they're like, and she also has a stage 3 lip tie. So her top lip, the webbing, wrapped almost all the way around her gums, so she couldn't do, like, the phalange thing, so to actually, like, suck.
Right.
Because
And at what age are you discovering this?
she was, like, 3.5 months.
So
Oh my God.
did anybody at the hospital look at that?
No, like, the nurses are supposed to for you.
That's what I thought.
Yeah,
because
thought
like
that
I know
was
my
a
midwives
part of the check.
checked,
Yeah.
and like I had the same situation where I had 3 midwives tell me there wasn't one,
Yeah.
and then I had a lactation consultant tell me there was. So it was like that, like, who do you believe and whatever. I actually decided to do nothing, and everything turned out fine.
Yeah.
But there's cases like yourself, like when they lift the lip and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, there it is. Like, you can see that there is like a problem.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I went to the lactation consultant multiple times.
And they
at the
didn't
hospital.
notice.
They didn't notice anything.
When
They
did
just
you
kept-
have like pain, like cracking, bleeding?
Oh yeah, and I had like I was like, something's not right. Like, my nipple shouldn't look like a lipstick tube.
Yeah,
Like,
totally.
And they're like, no, you're just getting used to each other. And I'm like, no. Something's not right. And nobody's listening.
Yeah.
So if it wasn't for my sister getting me into the osteopath,
Yeah.
I like
So when they fixed it, did they do the laser or the
they snipped.
snipped?
So
Yeah, okay.
she got snipped.
And they did both at once?
They did both at the same time.
Yeah.
And I, like, they're like, just so you know, like, don't worry, it's going to be a ton of blood. It's
Yes.
going to look terrible, but it's literally just because it's in their mouth.
Yeah, and
like,
it bleeds forever. It's like when you bite your tongue,
Yeah.
it bleeds.
It's
Yeah,
like
okay.
saliva, like, it's just mixing together. So by that point, like, Sienna would not, like, if I tried to put her to my boob, she would just
Refuse
lose
it?
it. She would lose her mind. She wanted her bottle. Like, yes, it was all still breast milk, but I still wanted to try to have
Yeah.
that
Bond. Yeah.
bond. And, like, we did the snipping, and then there's exercises that you have to do for
Correct, yeah.
a long time.
Yeah.
So you're doing them, and, like, I'm watching, like, as I'm, like, stretching her tongue and stretching her lip, and I'm like, oh, there's a little bit of tearing. Oh, there's going to be a little bleeding. But then you just give her bottle, and she was fine.
Wow.
But, like, yeah, it sucks because it's, like, I'm not getting that connection with her because she won't latch to me.
Yeah.
But, like, she was
But
all
she
good.
was still getting your breast milk.
Yeah.
And you gotta do what you gotta do. Like, you got a hungry kid, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're just... That's insane.
Yes.
And then, so now, after that, she just stuck with the bottle? And
She never ever went back to the breast. Like, it didn't matter how much I tried.
You did your best.
It didn't matter that I tried, like, different lactation consultants, and, like, some of them are so amazing, and I'm like, I'm sorry, but, like, they were like, nope, she's just... And Sienna is very, very stubborn, so she got her stubbornness from both me and Mike, because, like, if we think we're right about something, there's no changing our mind.
So she was just, she knew
She was like, no,
her thing.
bottle's
Okay.
mine. And that's fine. That's great. You're still getting your breast milk. I don't care. Sucked for me because I would be like, okay, I've got to clean your bottles, clean the pump.
Yep.
And like,
sterilize.
yeah.
Yeah, that's why I feel like people who are like, oh, breastfeeding is so much easier. It's like...
No, some people
or
say the
it's
bottle is
feeding.
easier.
Yeah, that's what I meant. And
Yeah, it's
and
not.
it's like, what?
Yeah. It's a lot of
It's
work.
like a breast, you just open your shirt and then you feed them.
Yeah.
Bottle feeding is like
So much work.
sterilizing,
Yeah.
cleaning,
Yeah.
X, Y. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, and I was still pumping, like, until she was, like, I pumped every 4 hours until she was, like, 8 or 9 months old.
Wow.
Like, I was still getting up through the night, everything. Like, she was, like, we did
Kudos.
sleep training
You're
at
amazing.
16 weeks.
Yeah.
So she slept through the night.
And you were waking up
and
pumping.
I was still waking up and pumping.
You were a pump queen.
So was the sleep training just like a cry it out sort of thing?
So they use a different method. Like the one we went with, she's actually a girlfriend of mine, Sabrina. She works with a woman named Debbie, and they have their sleep clinic. And Sabrina's actually oh gosh, why am I blanking on the name? A paramedic.
Oh, okay.
So I felt really, really comfortable going with her because I know that she would understand, like, we're a little hesitant about letting her cry it out because of her lungs. We want to make sure that everything's going to be fine.
Right. Yeah, okay.
So we started off with, like, she was in our room until she was 16 weeks. And then we're like, okay, we'll put you in your crib for your naps so that she would get used to her room. And, like, I would put, like, something of mine in her crib
yeah,
with
I've heard
her.
that works. Yeah.
And she would be like, oh, I can smell mom, I'm fine. And
Yeah.
she...
Not with you. Different story.
Yeah.
I love
I heard
that.
it works sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For some non-asshole children, it works.
Yeah.
Others, no.
Yeah. Like, she transitioned really easily, and, like, there was only 2 nights once we transitioned her to her crib where
They were good sleeps.
she had good sleeps, but we would put her down and then she'd start to cry.
Yeah.
And they use what they call the disappearing chair method.
Right?
So it was very much like, just, like, you're there, you hush them, and then you're like, okay, I'm going to leave the room. You leave the room, you let them cry, but you only allow it for, like, a certain time frame, and you slowly
Yeah.
lengthen the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. I did that with Caleb. I know what that's about. So that worked.
It worked, and it worked like a freaking charm.
Yeah, she
That's
sleeps
good.
like a...
She sleeps like a champ.
Yeah.
That's good.
Um,
So after all you've been through, that's a good
Yeah,
sign,
I
was like,
right?
thank
that you
God
have
I
a
have
child
that.
that sleeps. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something. So how was it the first year? Like, did you have to be really cautious about her health?
Yes.
Were you...
we kept her really, really secluded for a long time, and, like, if my sister's kids were sick, like, it would be like,
No,
nope,
no.
we're not coming, I'm sorry, like, we can't risk it. If anybody was sick that was coming around her, I'd be like, you can look at her, but you can't, touch her.
Yeah.
And it was just, we just wanted to make sure that everything was okay.
Did that take a toll on you emotionally at all? Like,
Oh, yeah.
having to be
Definitely. 'Cause
isolated?
I was super isolated, and, like, as both of you know, like, I'm a super social person, and all I want to do is be out with my friends and, like, being with all of them and their kids, because I have so many now that like had babies like a month or two before me, and I'm like, I just want to be with you guys.
Like social interaction,
Yeah.
right? And you want to, I'm sure when you were pregnant, your perception was we're all going to like go to mommy and me
That's right.
classes
Yeah.
or go get coffee. And
yeah, everything's gonna be great. And then
Yeah.
it was like, no, I literally sat in my house by myself for the first like 7-8 months of her life.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
it was really, really hard.
did you avoid public places with her during that time?
Mostly, yes. Like obviously I would take her to the doctor once she
Mm-hmm.
switched to a regular doctor. Like she stayed with Dr. Sam until she was at her 4-month checkup.
Okay.
And then she got switched to going to our doctor. But I found it super isolating, and I felt so alone. Like, I was really, really lucky to have, like, I have 2 amazing girlfriends that one of them's a stepmom, and one of them wasn't a mom yet, but now she is, actually. She just had her son.
Sweet. Nice.
So, but they would be the 2 that would be, like, checking in on me, being like, hey, how's it
That's
going?
good.
And
Yeah.
I was just like, you know what? Like,
Yeah.
all I needed was a hi today. Like, that's
Yeah.
all I needed.
Right.
It's just like yesterday, Sienna's daycare teacher, she and I have actually gotten along quite well, and she sent me a picture of Sienna out for a walk yesterday.
Right.
And I was just like, I needed that today.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really, really stressed, so that was really good. So I was
Right.
just like, thank you. Like, it was just those nice little things that you need every once in a while. Like, I have a couple friends that were like, well, you should talk to somebody about everything. And I'm like, you know
Right.
what? Like, I'd rather just talk to my friends about it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Because the experience of becoming a mother in this way has been so impacting on you emotionally.
yeah, like I thought everything was going to be like rainbows and butterflies and unicorns flying out of everything's ass or whatever you want to say.
You're right.
But it was not anything like I wanted it to be. Like, and I looked at all of my girlfriends who are like going on trips and traveling. Like, one of my girlfriend's kids has been to like 16 countries already.
Okay.
And I'm like, pardon? Your kid
Okay.
is just a
Does
month
she
old.
have a super nanny or something? That
No,
we don't know about?
she does it all by herself with her husband.
She has to cry
So
at night.
just to let you know, traveling with your kids is not what it looks like on Instagram.
I know.
So I talked to my girlfriends.
Horrible.
It's the worst. And
Yeah.
Daniel and I were just talking about like all of these places that we want to go in life.
Yeah.
And we looked at each other and we're like, but we're not bringing those 4 assholes with us. And it's like, no, we're not, because it wouldn't be as enjoyable
Yeah.
as it would be if it was just him and I.
Yeah.
And we love all of our kids.
Oh, obviously.
But it's like schlepping them places.
It's
It's
so
like
Yes.
it is like
Yeah.
I was joking with Melissa yesterday that like I have mastered the art of being a pack mule.
Yeah.
Because even if I just have to go to the play place,
Yeah.
I have to bring so
Everything.
much shit just to survive the
Yeah.
experience of allowing them to play somewhere other than our house. That it's like, why would I ever want to go to an airport with that?
Yeah, no.
Like, it's just not enjoyable. And I know a lot of people do it, and I think that's very nice, but your kid is never going to remember this.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself through unnecessary stress to go to a foreign country to be a parent, essentially. And it's like, why?
And you're putting them on an airplane where there's like a cesspool of germs.
germs, yes.
So gross, yeah.
So it's like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
So if it helps you at all, you haven't done your daughter
Yeah.
or yourself
Yes.
any disservice
Yeah.
by not traveling with her yet.
I think the thing that sucks for me is like even just like going to like Kelso to go hiking. Like
Yeah.
that was like Mike and I used to go pretty much every weekend. We would
Right.
take like just like the afternoon and just go for a hike, and like we didn't get to do that at all.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now you can make up for it.
Yeah.
Now you can make up for it.
Well, I think that's the thing that a lot of new parents like struggle with, because when you're pregnant, and especially if you don't have a ton of people around you that are going to be honest with you about like what it's like to be a parent, because I feel anyways, we live in a society where people put out this image of like happy family, like
Yeah.
this baby comes and it just inserts itself into our life and we just carry on.
Yeah.
But the reality
It's
is
not.
like you have a child and everything that you've known before that child existed has to change.
Yeah.
It has to change. It has to, bend and shift and be different because your world now has to revolve around a small person.
Yeah.
And not around you and your partner or whatever, or your dog or, whatever it is. And I think we do such a disservice to each other by not being honest about those things,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and I'm sure
So-
she posted these beautiful pictures of her trip, but what she's forgetting to tell the rest of the world is, like,
or
we
ashamed
took-
to tell the rest
Yeah,
of the
I mean,
world.
I took Evangeline at 5 months to Nova Scotia,
Yeah.
and it was great, but did she sleep? Not a wink, because she's in a different room. She's in a different crib.
Yeah.
It's not her home. Not her.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't sleep the entire trip because we changed her routine.
Yeah.
So it's like these people post these beautiful pictures of like, I'm in Italy, but what they're not saying is they haven't slept for 2 days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because their child now is in a foreign country.
Yeah,
The food
right.
is different. The water's different. Everything is different. But the picture looks amazing, right?
But it's
And
like,
that's
and you
what we-
can't
yeah.
can't spend thousands of dollars
No.
and say that, oh my God, this was the shittiest decision I
That's
made.
right. So you're going to
Right?
show all
It's
the good
like-
parts.
It's like, oh, I got to see like the Leaning Tower of Pisa while I throttled
1
my
hour of
2-year-old. It's like,
Smile.
yeah,
Smiler, I'm gonna jiggle you.
right? So I definitely come to a place in my life where it's like, I want all these things for my kids, especially because I have older children now that will retain memories
Right,
of
yeah.
these occasions. However, I also have babies now, and I'm not willing to put us all through that.
Yeah.
No.
Like, because then my older children will retain the memory of like, oh, we went here, my mother lost her mind and screamed at us for 7 days,
Yeah.
and I never want to go to that place again, right? Because it's like, I don't want to put them through that.
Yeah, no.
So, I feel very strongly about the fact that, like, you do what you can.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if you can do it in a way that adds value, not just to your children's lives, but more importantly to your life, it's much more valuable than being able to say like, oh, I went on my maternity leave and we went to, Aruba and we went to all these places and it
Yeah.
was fabulous.
Yeah. Go hiking.
It's like,
Yeah,
It's
well,
great.
that's we love to
Yeah.
hike, so that was the thing. And like what we're planning to do for our trip this year is just to like go out west because we're like, you know what? Yeah, it's a time change, so like that'll
Yeah.
suck.
Yep.
But with all the sleep training stuff that we did, like we have tools in place to change her
Fingers
schedule
crossed,
super
yes.
easily.
Yeah.
And so like when everybody else's kids are like super cranky when the time change happened, Sienna was great.
yeah.
Because we slowly shifted her schedule the way that we were supposed to,
Yeah.
and she transitioned perfectly.
I mean, kids are resilient, right?
They
Like,
are,
they
yeah.
will adjust. And I did take Daenerys to BC when she was 4 months
remember
old,
that,
and
yeah.
the time change is different. But, I mean, the first picture I think that I even put on social media was a picture of me, like, in my bed. It was, I think, 3 a.m.
Yeah.
BC time, and sitting next to this baby that was like,
ready to
yeah,
party.
we're
It's
having
time
a
to
party.
party.
And I'm like, fuck my life, because it's
Yeah.
3 a.m. and this is the third day of this, and like,
It's not
halfway
getting any better.
halfway through the
Yeah.
trip she adjusted, and then we got
came
half of the trip, and then it was like, we have to come home, and then we start all over again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, it was very nice. My brother got married. We had a very nice time. However,
Yes,
I
those
do
pictures are
know that if I didn't have an infant, the experience would have been totally different.
Yeah.
And luckily I had my entire family there to support with the bigger kids and stuff.
Yes.
But it's like, that experience for Daniel, for myself, it would have been so much nicer
Yeah.
had we not had an infant, right?
Yeah.
Love her.
Yeah.
Amazing kid.
She is amazing.
You know,
She's such a ham.
However, it would have been nicer if
Yeah.
she wasn't there. And so, we're going to Great Wolf Lodge for her birthday
That'll be super fun.
in a few days. Or a few weeks. A few days. I have no idea what's happening most of the time.
Where am I?
What day is it?
Who am I? Who are you people? No. And, we've already looked at each other and said, like, oh, I don't think Forbes is coming. Like, I don't think he's welcome on this. Because if we bring him, I know that I'm going to be sitting in a lawn chair, like, watching everything happen
Yeah.
around me, right? Like, holding him, breastfeeding him, and hating my life because I can't engage with my older children.
Yes.
Because I'm, being his mother.
Yeah.
And so, he's probably not going to come. But I know for a lot of people that's really hard to say, like, and there's an element for me where I feel like an asshole for saying, like, oh, Forbes can't come. But it's like,
But it's for
this
your
is the
sanity.
reality. Like, I can't take him. So are you going to have more kids? Do people ask you a lot?
A
Because
lot.
you've reached the 1 year mark now.
Yeah.
So I know a lot of people start
Oh, yeah.
chipping away at that
Oh,
once
yeah.
your baby is no longer a baby.
It was honestly like, she was like, it was just when I was starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel at like 9-ish, 10 months.
Yeah.
When I was like, okay, like she's happier, things are finally getting better. And then she started with teething. She's the worst teether on the planet,
Oh,
by
good.
the way.
Good,
Yeah.
nice.
Which, after time and time of asking Mike's mom. She was like, actually, now that I come to think of it, yes, he was awful.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is great. And she gets like 4 teeth in at a time.
Right, of
because
course.
That's just what happens.
Yeah.
But everybody was just starting on the like, oh, like, what do you think? And I was like, well,
Not today.
not today. And I'm having other issues. Like, I just went for a bunch of tests to get done because I still haven't gotten my period back.
Really?
Yeah. So I did a bunch of tests about 2 weeks ago for my doctors.
Yeah.
And they're just waiting. Like, she called me last week, but it wasn't for me. She was trying to get a hold of my sister.
Okay.
And I was like,
Oops.
I like had a heart attack because I was like, what?
No, wrong
What's
person.
going on? She's like, no, I'm trying to get a hold of your sister and I can't get through to her phone. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, well,
Thanks for the
luckily,
mini heart
I'm
attack.
here and I'm with her. So I gave the phone to my sister
Yeah.
and she went off and talked to her about whatever she has going on. But then I was like, okay, like, I'm still waiting for my results. And she
Right.
said that she really, really just wants to wait like another month or two to see if it comes back naturally.
Because are you still pumping or no?
No.
You're done. How
I'm
long have
done.
you been done?
I've been done since December.
And dried up?
I slowly weaned myself
Okay.
so that I didn't have to do it forever.
Okay.
Well, I shouldn't say that. I went I did it for a bit in January, and like I just slowly went from like 4 or 5 times a day to twice a day, and then
Yeah.
slowly went down to once a day.
Yeah.
Like I decreased it properly so that I wouldn't be in pain. Like I didn't end up with like mastitis or anything like that, which
Right.
thank God.
Yeah.
Right.
But like apparently my mom, it took her after breastfeeding me. My mom stopped breastfeeding me at 8 months because I got chompers and decided that I wanted to bite.
Yeah. Which is what Mila did.
And I was just like,
But I've heard it's pretty common. Like I have a few friends too that it's been like 5 months since they stopped breastfeeding and their period didn't
Yeah, it
come
definitely
back.
happens for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
it does happen. But then I have like friends on the other spectrum that like
Yeah.
get
Well, I mean, I got my period back when I was breastfeeding Daenerys after she was like 4 months old.
Yeah,
I
and
was
that's
like,
what
what the
happened to
fuck
me.
is this shit?
Yeah.
And then I got pregnant.
yeah, and that's
Shortly after that. Great.
Whoops.
Oopsies, I didn't realize that was a thing, but
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Yeah. Oh no, my girlfriend actually, she was breastfeeding as well, and she didn't realize that she had started her cycle again because she never actually got a cycle
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
And then just got pregnant.
and got
Yeah.
pregnant.
Yeah.
And she was so confused because her daughter just decided to stop, like wouldn't take her breast milk anymore.
Oh,
Yeah, because
like,
it
that's
changes
right.
the taste and
Yeah.
it changes,
She
everything
just
changes.
she
Wow.
weaned herself completely and would
Yeah.
would just not do it. So she had to start feeding her formula because she was like, hello,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
like
Baby's
you're
gotta eat.
you're not a year old yet. You need food still
Yeah.
from me.
Mm-hmm.
And then come
Interesting.
to find out that
She's actually having a
she's
baby.
actually having another baby.
Wow.
Okay, so you still haven't answered the question. Are you noticing this?
So that's a maybe.
So let's talk to me a little bit later.
Yeah.
So Mike and I were like, oh well, like when we first started talking about kids, we were like, well, we'd like to have 2.
Yeah.
And then after dealing with Sienna and seeing, like, I don't think Mike really realized how much work kids are.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because he has
Equals
limited
every
experience.
husband.
Yeah.
Unless they have experience with kids.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Mike's experience with kids is that every kid freaking loves him.
Right.
It doesn't matter whose kid you are. Kids love him. All of them are like,
Attached to him.
yeah, like they're magnets. Like, if you saw my nieces, I'll come back. Like, oh my god, they lose their shit if he's coming in.
So he wants like 10 kids?
No, not anymore. He did want a bunch of kids.
Yeah, until he had one of his own.
Until he had one
Yeah.
of his own and saw how stressful it was. And I think for him, like, he saw a huge change in me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I went from, like, happy-go-lucky, fun-loving soccer player to, like...
Crying and,
Yeah. Miserable and, like, defeated.
Yeah.
Like, the only thing that I can say that kept my sanity was that he let me still go, like, it wasn't he let me, he gave me my time, so I would go to soccer. Like, I signed up and I started playing
for you.
again, like, right away.
Right.
Like, it was, like, I signed up for outdoor and I was just like, I'm in this.
I need to get out.
Yeah.
I need to do...
I played a couple games in indoor because the second session for indoor started in February.
Yeah.
So I signed up as a call-up with my regular team.
Yeah.
And I think I played like 3 or 4 games total. But it was just that little bit of time away. And it was so needed. And
Yeah. Which is so important because a lot of women don't take that time.
Yeah.
So do you think that his decision to have more kids is impacted because of what happened to you?
I think that it has to do with both. I
Yeah.
think that he didn't really realize like how stressful being a parent can be.
Right.
But now that she's at the age that she's at, and she's fun and she's
Yeah,
playing
more
and-
interactive. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think
That's when it changes, like it flips.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like, if you would have asked me like a month ago if I wanted more, my answer would still be no.
Yeah.
And today, I have days where I'm like, And then today she was really cute, and I was like, oh, she wants a friend.
Yeah.
But then she has like a night where she's up all night because I fed her too much broccoli, and she's gassy, and I'm like, I don't know if I can do this. It's almost like mine switches every day.
Yeah.
And then I come to your house and I see your kids and they're playing and they're sweet, and I'm like, oh, she needs a friend. And then I see them fighting and I'm like, oh, does she need a friend?
Yeah.
It's like, it's funny how, and I keep saying to myself, like, I think Christine has done this 4 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And here I am going, I don't think I can do this again. And she's done it 4 freaking times.
Yeah.
And she's still alive to tell the story.
It's true, and that like to me is
it gives me hope.
It does give me hope. But like
I'm
see,
an insane person, just so you know.
Also.
I've also lost my mind.
but it's so refreshing to see that like you have your older ones, and then you have like Daenerys and Forbes, and like
Yeah.
they like their different levels of interaction are so sweet.
Yes.
Like for me, I look at it and I'm like, well, Sienna has Lila and Elise, like her 2 cousins.
It's
like
true.
Elise is only 7 months older,
Yeah.
and Lila is like 18 months
And they
older.
spend
than
a lot of
Elise.
time together.
Well, they live super close.
Okay, so
like,
that's really
it's like
nice.
Every Sunday, they're always playing together.
So
and
she's
it's-
not really an only child.
Yeah,
Then. She's
no.
always got somewhere to.
Oh yeah, but she knows how to hold her own because you have to understand. My eldest niece is a firecracker, and she will scream and yell at you and be like, "No, you're not allowed!" And she'll call you bad. And now the younger one has started that too.
Yeah.
And Sienna's just like, really? Like just gets right into it. She's
Yeah.
like, no, I'm not taking your
That's good.
crap. Like,
Makes her strong.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
she's definitely a
And
fighter.
she goes to
See-
daycare, which is great.
Yeah.
So she's got
My
the
perception with the kids is that, like, one day I'm not going to be here anymore,
So
and they're going to have each other.
Yeah.
Like, that's my mentality of, like, why there's so many of them. Really. It's like,
And they
with
can get their
Mila,
money together to put you in a nice home. later
Right,
on in
yeah,
life, right?
there's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of
Or-
them. One of them, chances are, is going to take pity on me and remember
Yeah.
that, you know, I hope it's Forbes because I've done the most for this
Yeah.
child in this short amount of time. One of them will take care of me when I need my diaper changed. And,
Yeah,
you
and
know,
like-
Mila with the diabetes, I figure if I can't take care of her anymore or be there to, like, you know,
She's
even as
got
an adult,
siblings,
she's
yeah.
going to need someone to...
Yeah.
You know, help her. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like that's going to be the case. Like, I always want someone to look out for her, and I feel like it's going to be one of them.
Yeah.
And I always wanted more siblings. I love my siblings so much, and my brother, you know, unfortunately for me, fortunately for him, like, moved out west, so he's not here.
Yeah.
So my kids will never have cousins. My sister's 10 years younger than me.
Yeah.
Caleb is already almost 11.
Yeah.
There's no cousins in sight. So it's like, if I don't have more kids, he would never have more kids around
That's
him.
true.
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, I always wanted my kids to have people to be
Yeah.
around them.
My sister was really like when we finally told everyone that we were pregnant.
Yeah.
My sister was really excited because her one girlfriend doesn't have any siblings, but
Yeah.
she has 2 cousins that are super close in age, and the 3 of them are so close.
Yeah.
And my sister was so excited when we were like, "Yeah, we're having a girl." She's like, "Oh, the 3 of them are gonna be so good." Like.
Yeah.
My sister and I don't have the best relationship. We've had a lot of turmoil through all of the years of us being sisters.
Yeah.
Like, we used to get along great as kids, but
Yeah.
as we got older, it's just, we're 2 very, very different people. But I think that the one thing that's actually bringing us kind of, like, into a state of likability
Yeah.
is the
Children.
kids.
The children, yeah.
And, like, I love my nieces like they were my own. Like, if anything ever happened to my sister and her husband, like,
Yeah.
those kids are mine.
Yeah.
I don't care.
Right.
Like, I love them to pieces. Like, whatever I have to do to make them happy for the rest of their lives, I will do it.
Yeah.
I'm the fun. I'm glad that I get to be the fun aunt.
For
Yeah.
sure, absolutely.
But-
it's hard to be the fun mom.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to being an aunt, even though, like, my brother is expecting, but it's going to be from afar, but I'm looking forward to it.
Skype.
Yeah. I'm going to be the FaceTime
You are
aunt.
the FaceTime
Yeah.
aunt.
I'm the FaceTime aunt. Yeah, my parents are the FaceTime grandparents. It just works. It's just what you have to do.
Yeah.
So it's a pause on the extra kid.
Pause on the extra kid.
Yeah. Working on your sanity.
Working on my sanity for
Getting
sure.
your period back.
Yeah, that would be really helpful.
That might be necessary to move to the next stage.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Just maybe. And like if it comes to like hormone therapy and all that stuff, like I talked to actually one of my mom's friends who's a massage therapist, and she's like, you do realize there's natural ways you can go about it. And I was like, obviously, yes.
Yeah,
and I would much rather do a natural way than be like, here, shove me full of hormones and kickstart my period again.
For sure, yeah,
in your butt.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No thanks. Don't really want
Hard
that.
pass on that
Yeah.
one.
Pretty sure I've been poked and prodded enough.
Right.
Because I was high risk with Sienna. So
Yeah.
it was just like, I'm good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you've like climbed the mountain, fallen down the other side, and are just getting back up.
Bludgeoned
So it's
to death almost.
Let's take a breather.
Yeah.
Heather
Good
needs
for
some
you.
Heather time.
And all of my wine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to enjoy your daughter now that she's in
Yes.
in a space where she's not a jerk and
Yeah.
you're not emotionally drained
She's still a
too
jerk.
much.
But not
Like,
as
let's
much.
be
Like
honest,
50% jerk.
Yeah.
50% cute.
She's
The jerk level changes though, you know, like
Yeah.
when they're, at least for me, I find like when they're babies, it's like they're not trying to be a jerk. They're just new to the world. They
They're
don't
figuring it
really
out.
like
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
like they lived in a place for a really long time while they were developing where it was really nice. There wasn't a lot of noise, not a lot of light, you know, it was warm.
Yeah.
And then they get thrust into a place where it's like lots of noise,
Chaos.
lots of chaos,
Yeah.
Lots of light.
cold, like what the fuck,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like they're not really trying to be a jerk, but because of our nature, it's like I would really like to sleep. I would really like, you
Yeah.
know, not to have you attached to me. They don't know that, right?
No.
Well,
So it's like the levels of jerkness, I think, just change.
and I found that something really, really helpful to
Jerkness.
me. Jerkness. Something really helpful that made me feel better about a lot of things was reading up on all of the articles that there are on the 4th trimester.
Right? Yeah.
Because
That's a thing.
yeah, it's fully a thing, and
Absolutely.
I was as a new mom, I was completely flabbergasted by all of it, and I was like, "Pardon? What do you mean 4th trimester?"
Right.
And then like I was talking to my girlfriend about it the other day, and I was like, "If you think about it, like horses come out and they can already walk. Giraffes, same thing.
Yeah.
Like."
Yeah.
Like whales can
Most-
swim. Like
most
most animals
animals.
come
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
and are able to fend for themselves.
Not
In
our babies.
some way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ours, nope.
I call it the baby blob stage. It's like basically I have this
Blob,
blob
yeah.
Yeah,
that can only exist if I keep it alive.
yeah,
Right? Like it will only thrive if I'm thriving. And that's why for me, there's so much invested in aftercare for your child. There's appointments, there's doctors, people are asking how the baby is doing, people are taking care of the baby. People are so concerned with this baby blob
yeah,
that it's like the vessel that has given life to this blob that has to, you know, take care of itself in order to be okay to take care of said blob.
Yeah.
Nobody's asking
no,
about how you're doing, really. Like sometimes you have nice parents and you
Yeah.
have like, you know, some support, but on a whole, as a society, like we forget about mothers. We just do. It's like, you know, we are so consumed with the cuteness and the baby that it's like we forget to ask, like, are you okay?
Yeah.
Have you thought about, you know, jumping off of a bridge today?
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing for your self-care to make sure that you're a whole person
Yeah.
that's able to be giving of yourself in the way that your baby blob needs?
yeah,
Right?
And it's so true because there's so many people that just don't do anything. Like I was so ashamed of the way that I felt and like the days that I wanted to smother her with a pillow because I was just like, just shut up.
Right.
And like
Nobody says that.
Yeah, nobody says
Nobody
that.
says
God
that.
forbid we said something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
And I sent an article to Emily a while back about mother suicide where it's like, you know, nobody says like, I thought about ending my life today because I can't take this anymore.
Yeah.
Like I can't take it anymore. And some people, you know, it will be a passing thought.
Yeah.
But nobody ever says like, or admits to the fact that like, yeah, I actually thought about that today.
Yeah.
Like I considered it. Like it is an option. It's in the back of my mind
Yeah.
and it's an option. You know, chances are I'm not going to act on it.
Yes.
But it's there.
The fact that
Because
the thought
I'm
was
fact
there.
overwhelmed.
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But nobody says that. Like I feel like mothers just hide themselves in this like wall of shame.
Yes.
And don't come out and don't talk about it until they're at the point where their baby is, grown up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, I can feel better about myself.
Yeah.
Even though, to your point, like, I thought about killing you because I couldn't take the screaming in my face for 1 second longer.
Yeah.
Right?
And, like, I remember Mike grabbing her one day because I was just, like, she was losing it, and I was holding her, and I was like, just shut up!
Right?
And I was like, I'm a terrible mother.
Right.
I'm a terrible mother.
Right.
Like, how can I scream at my kid who doesn't understand anything?
You're in the moment. You're in the moment. You're done. You've had enough.
And Mike just ripped her away from me and was like,
Yeah.
you need a break. Get out. And, like, made me leave the house.
Right. And listen, you are not alone. Like, every mother has done that. And I don't care who you are out there listening, sitting in this room.
All done it.
We have all done it.
Yeah.
We have all done it. Everyone has done it. Nobody is perfect.
Yeah.
No human being can go through hours and hours and hours and hours and days of being screamed at, being pulled in 500 different directions, and just be okay with it.
Yeah. But I think that the scary thing is to think about is that, like, our society, thankfully now, is becoming so much more open about mental health and trying to better everyone's lives that is dealing with anything like that. But then at the same time, like, there's still such a stigma around moms who have mental health issues. And
That's what I mean. The moms are forgotten. We are
so
forgotten.
Crazy.
Yeah.
But now I think that there was an article either last night or the night before where now they're going to start more on the postpartum for moms. Like, when you take the baby in, there's going to be more.
But it's gonna be platforms like this that push this change in my mind. Not that like we're
no
we're
brochure
the
though,
movement,
but that's it. Like, they left me
like,
brochures, but I'm like, this brochure is not going to fix me.
Yeah.
I almost wish that after every mother has had a baby, we got like 5 appointments with a therapist. Or we got 5, not even like, don't even go into an office. I wish someone would call me every day for 5 days and just be like, how are you?
Yeah.
A public health nurse, maybe a helpline, someone that you can talk to, and then put the phone down and be like, oh, that was better. Like,
but
that's what I wish.
But what they'll say to you is like, oh, those resources are there.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, but in my fucking shit, I'm not going to pick up the phone and say,
where's
hey,
the brochure?
Hey, Beverly, I
Beverly
have your
needs to call me.
brochure. Can you help me?
Yeah.
I know. The thing for me too is that, like, I think it's great that people can say, I am struggling, I thought about killing myself, or I can't exist in this world as a man. I need to be a woman. I can't exist as any gender. I need to be binary or whatever it's called, but I think it's a huge issue that a mother can't say without fear, I had to put my kid on the back porch in their car seat and leave them there for 2 hours because the screaming was making me feel homicidal.
Yeah.
Because that's not okay.
Yeah.
That's not okay. Because people will look at you or sit behind their computers and be like, I'm calling CAS, you're a terrible person, blah, blah. Like, there's just so much shame associated with that it's like, how can we not, hide? How can we not continue to hide and lie to each other about the fact that this is what it's like to be a mom?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to scare people who are pregnant and
No.
new mothers. Like, but however, I don't want to tell you, and I don't want to do a disservice to you by saying that you're going to have a year of motherhood that's going to be lovely, and you're going to go on vacations, and you're going to have, get paid by the government and have all this time off, and it's going to be it's
going to be great.
Right, to your point. So it's like
fucking lie.
Yeah, it's a lie. It's a giant lie.
Yeah.
And I've become very, very honest with, like, my girlfriends that are now new moms, and I'm like, hey, guess what? Everything that I thought, and, like, they watched me go through everything.
Right.
So they saw and they had the experience as an outsider.
Yeah.
But I'm lucky that I had the support system that I had in terms of, like, my mom and my dad are amazing. Like, I remember calling them and being like, I'm coming to you right now.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm bringing her. I'm coming to you. I just need somebody else to deal with her for 20 minutes so that I can at least, like, pump.
Or shower.
Anything.
Yeah. Sometimes Daniel's like, why are we going to my parents again? And I was like, because I need someone else to hold this child.
Right.
Like, I just need to sit on their couch while they hold the children.
Yeah.
Like, that's just why.
Yeah.
Because they're
And
willing
isn't
to
that
do
like
that.
a vacation for you?
Yeah, 'cause
sitting on
I'll
the
just
couch watching someone
sit
else
there.
holding your child
Yeah.
is like, what do I do with my arms? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. It's the best. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
just like how you have Forbes and you call him Velcro,
Yeah.
like I have Sienna, and if I'm not in the room,
Yeah.
she's fine.
Yeah.
As soon as she sees me,
Yeah.
nope, nobody else touch her. It's
Yeah.
mom. I
Yeah.
only want mom.
Yeah.
And like, I feel so bad for Mike because Mike wants so bad to have like his time with his baby.
Yeah, of course.
And they're so cute together when they play. And like, I have so many videos of the two of them
Yeah.
playing. But
Yeah.
as soon as she just gets like that little bit tired or that little bit hungry
That's it.
or anything,
Over.
doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Don't care. Don't want mom. Like, no, I'm
Yeah.
done. And
Yeah.
I just feel so bad for him because I look at him and he looks so defeated.
All kids are like that, though.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, Daenerys is like that, adores her father, loves
Yeah.
him. But it's like, if she needs help putting on her coat or putting on her shoes or like
That's you.
going to bed, like she just wants mom. It's
Yeah.
just every kid is like that.
Yeah.
It's just a nurturing thing, I think. They
Yeah.
just get so used to
Well,
like
their comfort,
those
right?
elements are done by my mom. And like when I'm not feeling well, like I just need my mom. That's
Yeah.
just the way that it is.
Oh crap, I
So-
remember crying the first time I got like actually sick after having Sienna, and I told Mike, I was like, I just want my mom.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
was like, I'm sorry. I'm like,
Yeah.
I need my mom.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
He was
For
just
sure.
like, what is wrong
Yeah.
with you? You're
It's
an adult.
it's a lifelong thing. That's
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure. I think too, as women, I mean, I know that our experience is different, but I know that a lot of women really depend on the comfort of their mother,
Yeah.
like well into their
Yeah.
old age.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
Yeah. But my
yeah.
parents have just always been that support system. Like, my mom and dad, both of them are amazing. Like, I am so lucky and blessed that
You
I
are.
have them both.
It's good that you identify that because a lot of people take it for granted,
Yeah.
and I see a
Oh,
lot
yeah.
of people who are lucky enough to have their parents' support and just don't realize what it's like to be on the other side of that, like to
Yeah.
be in a situation where you don't have both of your parents a phone call away that are
Yeah.
willing to
Drop
pick
everything.
up that
Yeah.
slack for you when
Yeah.
it gets really hard.
Well, that's the unfortunate thing. Like, I get to see both sides of it because I have my parents that are so amazing to both me and my sister and our husbands.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have my husband's parents that are very, like, withdrawn,
Yeah.
Living their own lives.
living their own
Yeah.
lives, which
Yeah.
is totally understandable. Like, you are both retired, you have nothing holding you anywhere. But I was so upset, and I remember looking at Mike at, like, because it was Christmas and her first birthday, and his parents just took off in their RV for, I think it was, they were gone for almost 3 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, you missed her first Christmas, you missed her first birthday. Like,
But some people just like I can relate a little bit because some people are just they have kids and then they feel like they've paid their dues and
Yeah.
like being a grandparent just really isn't on their top
Yeah.
priority list. It's like we're retired, we're gonna do what
Perfect.
we want to do now,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
But
This wasn't part of our plan. We did our job, we
Yeah.
raised our son,
Yeah.
and now that's it.
yeah, but then there's, like, Mike's dad was so excited. Like, I just even remember, like, when we told them that we were pregnant, like, Mike's dad was over the moon. Like, all he's wanted is a grandchild.
Right.
And Mike's mom was just kind of like, "That's nice." I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
okay, no,
Sometimes
no
people
kind
are-
of like gusto, enthusiasm, anything. Oh, okay." And I'm like, "That's totally fine. That's just the way that she is." But like, I like even watching Mike's dad with her. Like, he loves her so much, and he
Yeah.
loves to play with her when he's with her. But
Yeah.
and like he apparently just shows pictures and videos constantly. He went and got a cell phone so that he could have the pictures on his own
Oh,
phone.
that's really sweet.
Yeah.
That's
So
very
like
sweet.
that to me makes me feel better, but I'm like, they're just so withdrawn and they don't really like they
Yeah.
don't put in an effort. Like, my parents will call me and be like, "Where's my baby?"
Of course.
And they don't pick up the phone or send a message to be like, "Hey, can we come visit?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really it's sad, but it's
It's sad for them. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, if
Yeah.
she doesn't have, as long as they don't impart any disappointment on her,
Yeah.
it's really just sad for them. Like,
Yeah.
she's got that element in her life through your parents.
Yeah.
She's not going to know that she should be disappointed or upset
Yeah.
because his parents aren't that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
She's
no, and
never
that's-
going to know that it's missing.
And that's what I'm thankful for, is that my parents are just so involved and they
Yeah.
just want to be there.
Yeah.
And and it's really, really sweet to watch my dad, because my dad traveled so much when my sister and I were little.
Yeah. That he's having this opportunity.
He's having the opportunity, and he's like, all he cares about is the babies. He's like, I'll just kiss all the babies.
Oh,
like,
that's very sweet.
Still goes for naps with them.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
oh god.
That's so good.
He's like, it's my nap time too.
That's so good. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for doing this with us.
No,
For being
thank you
honest, for
me.
sharing your experience. It's so important. I think the dialogue is so important. So I'm really grateful that you were willing to do it.
Oh, I'm glad that it can be shared, and like honestly, anybody that has to deal with NICU, like just know that those nurses are the best possible people you can be around, because they're going to do anything and everything in their power to make sure that your baby is safe and your baby gets happy and healthy.
That's awesome.
It's like, you're not, like, as much as people think that being in NICU isn't the norm, it's a lot more normal than a lot of people
it's very
think.
common, for sure.
Yeah.
So,
For sure. And I think the stigma on it is that, like, it's very bad.
yeah.
It has a very negative stigma, but it's like, at the end of the day, you have a fresh human being who's new to the world, and if you want the very best outcome for your baby, sometimes that's just part of their journey, and that's the best thing for them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for
Awesome.
being here.
Thank you for
Heather.
having me.
Thanks for listening, guys. Have a great day.
Have a good day.